Know yourself, love yourself just as you are. Most people don't know what the self is. And it's kind of hard to accept self, love self, value self, honor self, respect self when you don't know what the self is. Most of us think that the self is this physical body, or the self is our personality, or the self is how we do what we do. But the self is really that dynamic, divine essence at the core of your being. The self that I'm talking about with a capital S is the part of you that is the image and the likeness and the qualities and the attributes of the Creator, whatever you call the Creator. That is the self. So what that means is accepting that I am divine, that I am powerful, that I am love, that I am wisdom, that I am infinite intelligence. But because we live at the physical world level and we're educated externally, all of our education centers around what we do and how we do it and who we do it with. And unless we really have a strong spiritual grounding, sometimes a religious grounding, we don't educate ourselves from the inside out. We don't learn about that self. We don't learn about the truth of who we are. And even in religious circles, the essence is external. We look out for God. But the self is that internal divinity, whether you call it God or Allah or Buddha, Jehovah, whatever you call it. So when we understand that, it's easier to accept. And so we're saying to people, accept the fact that you're divine. It's so difficult for us to practice and live and know self-acceptance because we look at the self and measure it by our behavior and our experiences, not the truth and essence of who we are. There are 4 things, I believe, that block us from total and complete self-acceptance, even focusing it externally. The 4 obstacles. Number 1, unworthiness. I don't deserve. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm unimportant. Most of this we learn through our interactions and experiences and relationships from childhood up. And we come with this whole notion of, I'm unworthy. It's hard for us to believe that we are worthy of the power, of the love, of the peace, of the wisdom, of the infinite connection to the Creator, unworthiness. And then we act that out. Unworthiness usually shows up as not enough, not good enough, not important, not smart, not powerful, and therefore undeserving of good things, undeserving of, you name it, support, love, abundance, prosperity, health. When we have that going on in the mind, it's difficult for us to accept ourselves because we say, I'm unworthy. But our behavior will be to contradict the very thing we believe. So if we think we're not enough, very often we'll take on too much. We'll overcommit. We'll take care of everybody. We're always trying to prove that we are enough when, in fact, we don't believe it. And the only way to really tap into that, neutralize that, eliminate that, heal that, is to really understand the truth of who you are. And for me, that's where your daily spiritual practice comes in. Getting in touch with the divine, understanding the essence and the truth of who you are. At a practical level, it's about the development of character, living those principles, or what a spiritual community might call the fruits of the Spirit, the kindness, the gentleness, the humility, the meekness, but also character in terms of integrity and honesty and compassion and those things that make your character a part of your everyday living. So unworthiness is in our way. I believe another obstacle is self-doubt. Self with the little s. Because as human beings, we seem to have a a difficulty forgiving ourselves for mistakes. So we've made mistakes, or we've made poor choices and bad decisions that have either created disaster in our lives or in someone else's life. So as we grow and we're trying to develop this sense of self-acceptance, the negative ego will remind you, but remember what you did. So the negative ego is saying that, and therefore we move always doubting that we're connected to divinity, doubting that we house divinity, doubting that we have a right to live in peace and joy, doubting the choices that we make. We just live in doubt. So it's hard to accept the self that you doubt. The third obstacle, I believe, is unforgiveness. And I just think that because we don't forgive, first ourselves and then others, that we stay grossed in a level of toxicity and anger and sorrow and sadness and grief that makes it difficult for us to accept who we are. The things we think and how hard we are on ourselves when we do make mistakes or when we do make poor decisions, when we do make poor choices, that we won't forgive ourselves for. And that, I'll call it a spirit, if you will, or that energy of unforgiveness of self and others only exacerbates the self-doubt. See, I thought I was right and I picked that. And I was wrong. I can't forgive myself. That's why I'm unworthy. And it keeps us from knowing the capital S self, that divinity, because again, we're looking outside. So unworthiness, I don't deserve because, this can't be true about me because, self-doubt based on mistakes we've made, poor choices, bad decisions, things that we've been told about ourselves. So where do I learn now to accept myself just as I am? Not to make my life about external and behavior and pleasing other people. Where did I learn that? Where do you go? You can read all the books in the world, but if you don't feel it, if you can't step into it, which brings me to the fourth element of self-acceptance, love. We learn how to love ourselves from how we're loved. We learn whether or not we're forgivable based on how the people that raised us treated us. And most of us are taught to live self-acceptance from the small s. So what do we do now? For me, I had to start with forgiveness. I had to start with forgiveness. To forgive, first to be aware of everything that I thought I had done wrong and everything that was wrong and bad about me. I had to be aware of that. So I had to be vigilant in my observation of myself and why I made choices and what I was really going for. I had to really begin to live intentionally, I had to become aware. Then I had to acknowledge, and I had to tell some radical truths to myself about myself and how to acknowledge it and then accept it. Accept it. I did that. I did all of those things. And you know what? I'm still worthy of this life, this gift. I'm still worthy of God's love, to be loved. I'm still worthy to have dreams and aspirations. I'm still worthy. And if I get still and if I listen within, if I tap into my core, I can trust what comes forward from myself. I don't have to doubt. I don't have to think I'm going to be punished because of all of the things that I did, because I've forgiven myself. I've forgiven myself. And if I can do it, I know my Creator will too. And then I have to love myself, all of me. I have to accept that and then get an idea about how I'm going to live it. And that's what I did. I got a new idea. The four things that we need to do to be able to forgive and step into our capital S self is become aware of the things that you do either to prove or disprove your unworthiness, your self-doubt, and your unforgiveness. Really look at where that is in your life and how you're living it.